Hello, just confirm, am I audible? So that within 5 minutes we'll start. Just confirm in the chat box if I'm audible, so that we can start. Hello, am I audible? Hello, hello, am I audible? Hello, okay, okay. So just we'll just wait for 5 minutes and we'll start. Okay, just confirm if my screen is visible to you. Just confirm if my screen is visible to you. Okay, okay, thank you. So welcome to lecture number 7. In this lecture, we are going to start with a new chapter, that is the chapter number 3, and that is called as intents and layouts. Now, currently, you might be knowing what do you mean by layouts or what do you mean by intents. Okay, but we are going to see it in detail in this particular chapter. So we'll be firstly focusing on the layouts, how to design the layouts, and then we'll go towards the intent. So let's start with the lecture 7 and a new chapter, chapter 3, that's intents and layouts. So before going towards the layouts, let's have some definition that we'll be using across our syllabus. So the first basic definition that we have to remember is there are two terms that we are going to use frequently. and that is what we are calling it as view and view groups. So these are the two terms, view and view groups. So let's see, what do we mean by view? So view is nothing but something the user can see and interact with. So we said uh, in Android application, the user interface visible to the user is called as an activity. Now, the activity is simply a screen or user interface visible to the user. And if we are going to add the different input controls on our activity, those as view in Android term. So, if you have performed with Java, we were called as simply J button or buttons. Okay. In this case, the different input controls are now called as view. So just remember, the views in Android is nothing but a different type of input controls. Now the example I have written here. So there might be a button, there might be a radio button, there might be a date picker or the date picker control there. So it is basically a form of view. So basically, any kind of input control you have on your activity, that will be termed as view. Now, the next important definition that we have is nothing but the view group. And as the name suggests, view group is nothing but group of different views. Now, always remember, view is always visible to the user and user can interact with it, while the view group is always an invisible. So this is basically a container which consists of different views inside it. So view is a single input control, and if you have bunch of such multiple views or bunch of such multiple input controls which are grouped together, how they are grouped? They are grouped by using a term called as a view group. Now view group is basically a container which is invisible, and as we have said here, it defines a layout structure. Now what do you mean by layout structure? It's simply an arrangement. It's simply an arrangement of views and other view groups. So you can basically have number of input controls on your activity, and you can arrange the input controls depending upon your requirements, and you can design the user interface. This is the basic idea. Now, the next term that we are going to see about the UI development is basically called as a layout. Now, what is a layout? Now, layout defines a structure for user interface. So basically, whenever you are going to design an activity, in order to design the user interface, you need to define something called as a layout. So how your user interface will actually look, that will be defined by something called as a layout. Now, as we said, all the elements in a layout are built using some kind of hierarchy of view and view group. Okay, so what we said is in previous slide is there is something called as view and view group, and if we have some hierarchy between them, then this is basically called as a layout. Or in short, we can define a layout as a layout is nothing but it's an arrangement of views and view groups for building a specific user interface. Now for a user interface, we have a specific term that is called as an activity. So I have written activity here. So in short, you can define layout as it's basically an arrangement of views and view groups for building a user interface of an activity. If I want to show it in terms of a diagram, I can show it in this way. So what basically a layout consists of? Layout consists of a view group. Now view group is basically a group of views, and it may again contain some other view group as a child. Okay, and as we say, this view group is basically containing 3 views. And always remember, view group will be an invisible container. Now this is about the theory part. Now let's try to understand it in terms of a practical. So for that, we'll be launching an Android Studio. And in this Android Studio, we'll be creating one project. Now, in order to understand the views and view groups in a better way, we'll be taking an empty activity. So I'll select here an empty activity. Now we'll click on next. Now here you can give any application name. So I'll be giving the application name as demo layout, because we have to understand what do you mean by layout. Now let the package name will be default. Let the locations of saving the project will be default. And we know by default we are going to choose the language for our project development is Java. Now let the other things as it is, and then we'll click on finish. Now as you can see, it will take some time in order to build the project. And once it will build the project, all the windows and the folders will be rearranged. So let's wait till it builds the project. Now what we are talking about the layouts. Okay, now what are the different layouts available? So Android provides us some predefined layout for building a user interface. Now these are some predefined layouts. So first layout is a linear layout. So in a linear layout, basically the view group we are aligning in a single direction. So we can align the items either vertically or horizontally in a single direction. Then there is another layout that we have is called as a relative layout. So this is basically a view group which will display the children's with respect to the relative positions. Now what do we mean by that? We'll see it. Now here you can see our glider build is successful. Now what we have to understand is a view and view groups. So let's say there is one activity available now, and this is our main activity. Now, as we said, this is the main activity .java file, which consists of the business logic. And what we are going to learn now is the user interface design. So this file is not useful for us, but I need to go towards the layout. Now, where this layout file is available, this layout file is available in this tab, or if you want to see the folder of it, you can go inside the resources, layout, and here all your layout files will be available. Now here, currently one activity is only available, so we can say there is only one XML file is there. And if you click on this one XML file, you can see it will show us this particular screen where you have two windows. Okay, so the first window is basically your layout design, which is entirely done in XML, and whatever layout design you are doing, that particular preview will be seen in this particular window. So basically you have two important windows here. One window will allow you to actual code with the layout, and another window will show you the preview of whatever coding you have done for a layout. Now always remember, whatever coding you are actually trying to do for a user interface, it is entirely through XML. Okay, so what we'll be using for a layout designing is the entire XML, okay, which is again a tagged language. Now let's see. So the layouts we have is linear layout, relative layout, then a frame layout. So basically a frame layout means a layout where the controls will be overlapping on each other. Then we have absolute layout. Now let me tell you, absolute layout is given by the Android, but it is not at all useful because in absolute layout, as you can see here, we have to specify the exact location. So we have to specify the exact point on a screen or exact pixel on a screen where your user interface component will be located. So that's why we can say this absolute layout is not useful for us. Now what we have other thing is something called as a table layout, which will arrange the elements in terms of rows and columns. And the next thing that we have is something called as a constraint layout. Now constraint layout is not present previous versions of the Android, but it is a latest addition. So last year, the Android developers, or we can say Google, added this particular layout, and they are calling it as a constraint layout. But the reality is constraint layout is nothing but an improved version of the relative layout. As you can see here, it says constraint layout is nothing but a more powerful version of the relative layout. So once you understand the relative layout, understanding the constraint layout will be a little bit easy. So that's why what we are going to learn in this particular lecture is these three layouts. And whatever these remaining three layouts are there, we are going to cover it in next lecture. So for the current lecture, we'll be sticking towards these three layouts, that is the linear layout, relative layout, and the frame layout. So let's try to see each type of layout and understand it one by one. So the first layout that we are going to understand is called as a linear layout. Now, as you can see here, the linear layout is basically a view group that will align the children in a single direction. So whatever the input controls which are present in a linear layout, that will be either aligned in a vertical direction or they will be either aligned into the horizontal direction. That is, either they will be one below another or they will be one after another, either in vertical direction or in horizontal direction. Now, always remember, whatever things we are going to see from today will have now two representations. One representation is nothing but the Java representation, so that we can refer that entity in our Java file, and another representation is nothing but an XML representation, so we can out what click on this particular link, you will be navigated towards the documentation of the corresponding classes. Okay, so for the current lecture, we are not interested in documentation, but what it stands for, I'm going to show you exactly with the help of demo. So just you can see here. So everything that we are going to use in our Android will now have two perspectives. One is the Java perspective, where we have the corresponding class inside a Java, and another is an XML perspective, where we have the corresponding XML element in a Java. XML element. Now, what do you mean by XML element? It's basically a tag. It's basically a tag. Now, as you can see, a linear layout is a class in a Java. At the same time, linear layout is nothing but a tag inside an XML. Now, if you want to see it additionally, you can see it. For example, if I want to see what is this particular view stands for, okay, so I'll go to the Java file and I'll simply write view with capital V. Now, as you can see, if some letter is capital, then it's basically a class. Now I can say view is basically a class. Now simply hold control here and I'll click on this particular link. Now, if you open this, you can see here. So basically view is nothing but a class. So whatever the things we have are nothing but having two perspectives. One is the Java perspective with terms of the class, and another is the XML perspective. So if you want to refer same view inside an XML, you can go to the XML file and you can refer this by using a tag. Okay, so simply I'll be calling it as view. Okay, so always remember this. A single element will have two perspectives. One is the Java perspective, which represents a class, and another is the XML perspective, which represents the corresponding element. Now, what we are going to understand now is a linear layout. Okay, so we want to understand what do you mean by linear layout. So, in order to understand linear layout, let's go towards our XML. Now, as you can see here, whenever we go and create a new activity, by default, the layout chosen is a constraint layout. Okay, now since we are going to understand the linear layout, I'll simply delete this part and I'll call this as a linear layout. I'll call this as a linear layout. Now, currently, whatever the childs are there, I'm not interested inside that. So I'll remove this thing. Okay, so as you can see, this is our linear layout. So this is the opening tag which says the linear layout started, and this is our closing tag which says this is the end of the linear layout. Now, in order to understand a linear layout, let's see its attributes. Is a tag language. Every tag might have some kind of attributes. Hello, is my audio clear? Hello, is my audio clear? Are you able to hear my voice? Okay, thank you. Now, what we are going to understand is some of the attributes. Okay, so before starting with the attributes, let's try to see what examples we can create. So let's see this example first of all. We want to add three buttons: login, register, and reset. Okay, so we want to add three buttons: login, register, and reset. These are one below another. So we'll try to design such an interface and we'll try to understand what are the important attributes. Now, this is the linear layout. Now, this linear layout consists of buttons. So I can say whatever the buttons I'll be adding within the opening and closing linear layout. So let's add a button. Now, since I'm referring an XML, I need to create an element button. So to create the button element, simply use opening angular bracket, and for a button simply use capital B. Now it will suggest you one element that's called as a button. Okay, now as you hit on the suggestion, so as you hit enter on the suggestion, it will auto complete it. Now as you can see, every element will have by default two attributes. Every element will have by default two attributes. One is the width and another is the height. Okay, or you can call it as layout width and layout height. Now width specifies what will be the width of that component, and height specifies what will be the height of that component. Now let's say I want to match this particular entire button across the width of the entire screen. Okay, so I want to match this particular button across this width of the entire screen. Okay, or I can say I want to match this particular button across the entire width of its parent, which is nothing but the linear layout. So if you want to do that, there is one value available, and that's called as a match parent. Now if I add match parent, you can see button is not visible. The reason behind this is I haven't specified the height here. Okay, so let's add the height as also the match parent. Okay, now as you can see, if I specify the height as match parent and width as match parent, it will occupy the entire screen. Okay, now this is a button element that I have started. How you can close it? you can close it in this way, or you can close it by simply adding one backslash here. So this is our button. Okay, now as you can see, its width is also matching the parent, his height is also matching the parent. Now suppose I'll write some text here. So let's say I'll write some text here, and what was the text I want to write? The first text I want to write is a login. So I'll simply call here text login. Now as you can see, this is the entire login button which is shown on the screen. Now I don't want to show this button in this way. I want the button should occupy the entire width, but its height should be adjusted according to its content. So that's why the height I'll be choosing as wrap content. So it will wrap the entire button such that it will adjust according to its content. Okay, so this is how you can create a button with match parent and wrap content. Okay, and a text attribute gives what will be the text on that button. Now let's say we'll add one more button. So in order to do that, I can define one more button here, or the simplest way I can use here is I can simply copy this element and paste it here. Now as you can see, I have added one more button, and this time for this particular button I'll be calling it as register. Okay, now if I'm adding a button register here, this button is not visible. This button is not visible. Now the reason behind this is I have to specify one important property of linear layout, and that is nothing but the orientation. So I need to specify how the two controls will be aligned with respect to each other. Either they will be one below another, or they will be one after another. So I need to specify the orientation property. Now always remember, the orientation property is the property of linear layout. So it must be written within the tag of linear layout itself. So I'll simply press enter here, and within the tag of linear layout, I'll define one more property, and that is called as orientation. Let me add enter here. So it will go below. So orientation, and I want to display the buttons one below another. So that's why the orientation I'll give here is vertical. Now as you can see, as soon as I give the orientation as vertical, this button will appear below the login button. Okay, now let's add one more button. So we'll simply copy this button and paste it below the register button, and this time let's see what was the name of that button. Yeah, reset. And this time we'll call this particular button as reset. Now as you can see, these buttons are displayed one below another. The reason behind this is we have used linear layout, and more specifically within the linear layout, we have used the orientation as a vertical. So that's why the buttons are displayed one below another. Now it will follow the sequence of buttons in which you have created the element. Suppose if I cut reset from here, and if I add the reset element between the login and register. Okay, so let me cut this and let me add this between the login and register. Now as you can see, the buttons will be displayed in the same sequence. So it will follow the sequence of your XML file. So linear layout means you have to go on adding the elements one after another. Now depending upon whatever the orientation you have chosen for your linear layout, the contents will be displayed either one below another or one after another, following the sequence of the XML element. So let me add it after the register button. So we'll add this reset button here. So as you can see, these buttons are displayed one after another. Now, the most important thing for a linear layout is nothing but the orientation. Now, the width and height we have already seen. Now, if you want to change the background color, you can change it. The element for that is the background. So if I choose a background, you can specify the background color. So if I specify the background as #000, it will set the background color as black. Now if I want to choose a custom background color, so you can simply click on this color available here. So as you can see, as soon as I specify a color here, it will show that color inside a palette present here. If I click on this particular color preview, it will allow me to choose a different color. So I can choose this color here. So this is a red color. If I want to go towards some other color, I can choose it from here. So let me choose some faint color here. Yeah, that's it. And simply once you choose that, you can simply click on your XML file and it will by default choose the color that you have chosen inside the palette. Same thing you can do for buttons also. So if you want to change the background color of button, you can click on, you can select the background attribute and you can select the color. So let's say I want to give the red color to this button. So R attribute as F. Now this color will be chosen as the background color as green. So I can say this will be 00FF00. So G attribute, that's green. And then for this button, we have to choose a blue color. So that's why again I'll go to the background attribute and I'll use as #0000FF. So B attribute is set to FF. So this is how you can set the background color. Also you can choose the foreground color. So for that you can simply have to choose as foreground, and the color you can choose here is white. Let's say white. Or if you want to choose a text color, you can say text color I'm going to choose as white. So all attributes are F. So I'll simply copy this text color and I'll be pasting it here. So you can see for all buttons, the text color will be set as white. So this is what a linear layout stands for, and more specifically, this is what the vertical orientation in a linear layout. Now, let's try to change the orientation from vertical to horizontal. So we'll make it as horizontal. Now, as you can see, once I choose the orientation horizontal, only single button is visible. Now, the reason behind that is we have chosen the width of the button as match parent. So that's why this first button is occupying the entire width and the remaining buttons are overflowing our visible screen. So that's why let's modify this width from match parent to wrap content. Now, as you can see, once I change the width as wrap content, it will occupy the width in such a way that it will wrap around its content. Again, change the width of the second button. So we'll make it as also a wrap content. So as you can see, it will again occupy the width of the register text. And again, for a third button also, we'll modify the text as wrap content. Now, as you can see, the three buttons will be now displayed one after another. The three buttons are now displayed one after another. So now the design that we have to do is in this way. So the buttons will be displayed now one after another. Now the problem here is if I have added only three buttons, these three buttons are occupying this space in such a way that some space is left blank here. As you can see here, this space is left blank. Now, I don't want to do such thing here. I want the arrangement in such a way that every button will occupy some space of entire available layout space in such a way there will be no empty space left on our screen. So for that, we have one concept that is called as a weight. Now, as you can see, this is our blank space which is remaining, which I want to occupy evenly. So what I can have is, I can have the buttons where each button will be given a same amount of weight. So let's see how we can do it. So this can be done by simply assigning a layout weight property. So I'll assign the layout weight as 1 here. Now it will occupy one part of the entire available space. Now if I assign equal weight to all the buttons, then as you can see, all the buttons will now be occupying the equal amount of space in the entire layout. Okay, now this is what the important property available, and that is called as a weight property. Now, what is a linear layout we have studied in short? It's basically an arrangement of the elements either in horizontal direction or in the vertical direction. Then we saw what do you mean by the width property, what do you mean by the height property, how to change the background color, how to change the foreground color, and at the same time how to change the text color. Then we saw what do you mean by weight. Okay, so this is what the linear layout. Now let's see whether we can design a login window here or not. So let's remove this entire thing. Now for a login, we need to have something called as the input control. We need to have one login button, and we need to have some register button. So let's see whether we can design it by using a linear layout. So as you can say, the first will be the name of our window. So let's say it will be a text view. I can say this is a match parent width, and it is a wrap content of height, and it will contain one text. It will contain a text. Text will be calling it as login. Now this text is having a small sized font. I want to increase the font size. So for that, I can increase here the size with the help of one attribute, and that is called as text size. Now, how you can give the size in terms of the number? So let's say I'll give the size as 40. Okay. Now, if you are going with the text, always use SP as a unit. Now, SP stands for the scalable pixel. So if you are trying to give the size for the text, always use SP as a unit, which stands for the scalable pixel. The reason behind this is, whenever you use scalable pixel, it will not form the anti-aliasing. So that's why whenever you have to use the unit for a text, always use SP. So this is our login. Now this login is displayed at the left side. I want to display it in a center. So how to display it in a center? So let's use something called as a gravity. Now gravity is nothing but it decides the alignment of your component. So I can say it will be displayed in a center which is horizontally centered. Now if I want to do that, I have to use the width as a wrap content. Let's see here. So this is basically a gravity. Yeah. So this is basically a gravity. Now when I use gravity as center horizontal, the login will be displayed horizontally center position. Now I have to specify one input box here or input control here. Now in Android, this is something called as edit text. So it will match the entire width of the parent. So I can say match parent, and height will be a wrap content. And what we'll have here is we'll have one hint here, and it will say enter username. Now, as you can see, this particular thing is not visible. The reason behind this is we have used the orientation horizontal. We have to use the orientation as vertical. And as soon as we use orientation as vertical, you can see one input control is visible here. We'll copy the same edit text and we'll paste it below. And now we'll ask user the password. So enter the password. So this is another input text. And now we have to create one button. So let's create a button with width as wrap content, height as also wrap content, and its text will be login. Since I want to display this button in a center, again I can go towards the gravity and I can say center horizontal. Let me add it as match parent. As you can see, yeah. So I can occupy the width of the login button in such a way that it will occupy the entire parent width. So this is how you can use a linear layout in order to create a user interface where the elements are aligned linearly or in a single line. Now this is about the linear layout. Now what we have, a next layout is something called as a relative layout. Now let's understand what do you mean by relative layout. Now as the name suggests, a relative layout is basically a relative position of the children which can be described in relation with either to the parent or with respect to each other. Okay, so let's try to understand it. So I'll empty this entire view, or what I can do here is I'll keep this layout as it is. I'll simply add one more activity. So I'll go here and right click on new, and then we'll add one more activity and we'll choose an empty activity. Now here we'll call it as main activity 2. Let's keep it as it is and then click on finish. Now as you can see, it will add main activity 2.java, and for the corresponding main activity 2.java, it will create main activity 2.xml. So this is the XML file for main activity 2 is created, which we now want to edit in order to understand the relative layout. So we'll simply delete this initial part and we'll modify it as a relative layout. Now let's add a simple button here. So we'll add a button and we'll choose width as wrap content and height as also wrap content. And for this particular button, we'll add one text as, let's say, hello. Now this is a button which is displayed in our relative layout. Now this is what you have to remember. Whenever you have a relative layout and when you add the item inside a relative layout, the by default alignment for any item added inside a relative layout is the top left. As you can see, if I'm adding a button, it is added at the top left corner. Now, if I want to align this particular button with respect to parent, I have to give the relative position of this button with respect to parent. Now, how we can give the relative position with respect to parent? Let's try to see. So the first relative position that we have, center horizontal. Now center horizontal means this button will be displayed horizontally central position. So it will have two values. By default it is false, and if I make this value as true, as you can see, the button will be aligned in a center position with respect to the horizontal axis. Now the same way we have is something called as center vertical. So when I use center vertical, you can see as true, you can see the button will be aligned centrally along the vertical axis. Now, if I want to align the button both horizontally and vertically center position, then what you can have is something called as center in parent. And if I use center in parent as true, as you can see, this button is aligned at the center of the parent. Now this is what we are calling it as a relative position. And this relative position is with respect to the parent. So when I use center in parent, it is horizontally centered as well as it is vertically centered inside a parent. And this is what we are calling it as a relative position with respect to the parent. With respect to the parent. Now, as you can see in a relative layout, it is also a class in a Java file. So android.widget.relative layout, which is a child of view group, which is again the child of view class, and view class is again the child of java.lang.object. And in XML, the relative layout is referred with the help of XML element that we have used here. So this is a relative layout. So we have added one button in order to see the position of the element with respect to parent. Now, in order to understand it more clearly, let's try to see, can we implement this example? So here we have three different components. So the first component that we have is the text view, which says a user colon. Then we have one input box, which in Android's language we call as edit text. And one thing that we have is a button, which is at the right position or at the rightmost position and which is below the edit text. Okay, so let's try to implement this. So for that, we know by default one item is displayed in the top left corner. So we'll add one text view, use its width as wrap content, height is also wrap content, and here we'll say the text is user. Now we'll increase the font size of this text by using a text size property, and we will use its text size as 20 sp, or let's increase up to 30 sp. Yeah. Now this text view is visible. Now we'll simply close this tag. So this is our text view. Now let's add one more thing, and that is nothing but this input control, which we call in Android's language as edit text. So let's say edit text whose width is wrap content, height is also wrap content. Okay, and let it leave as it is. Now as you can see below you there is one edit text available. Now since I have given the wrap content as attribute, its width will be displayed in such a way. So I can say its width will be a match parent. Now as soon as I make the width as match parent, you can see it will occupy the entire width. But the problem is we don't want the user interface to be built in this way. If you see here, what we want is a text view, and after text view we want our edit text to be aligned. So for that I want to specify, or I need to specify the relative position of this edit text with respect to relative position of the user. So I have to align my edit text with respect to this particular text view which says the user. Now for that you have to always remember one thing. whatever control you are adding must be given an ID. So always remember, even if you are programming a simple application or if you are programming a really big production application, every element should be given an ID. And how to give the ID? If you write ID, so @ plus ID, and let's say this is our text view, so I'll simply call it as TV or TV1. So this will be called as text view 1. Of course, you can choose any name for the text view. Now, this also an edit text will provide the ID. So ID as @ plus ID ET1. So that is nothing but edit text 1. Now what thing I have to do? I want to tell this edit text that you have to occupy your position after the text view. Now I'll be telling this to the edit text by adding one attribute here, and that is to the right of, and to the right of what? To the right of this text view, which is identified with the ID @TV1. So @ plus ID TV1. Now as soon as I give this particular attribute to the right of, you can see the edit text will go towards the right of our text view. Now the first part is over. The next part is I want to align this particular button. Now if I have the button, can anybody tell me what will be the relative position of this button? I don't want the exact attribute, but I want what will be the relative position of this button. For example, let's say if I say this edit text, I can say its relative position is towards the right of this text view. Can anybody tell me what will be the relative position of this button? Yeah, below the edit text, and at the same time, it has two relative position. What I said, if I simply said below the edit text, let me show you the example. So we'll go to the Android Studio and we'll add one button. I hope it's visible. Yeah. So let me add a button, and button height and width will be wrap content, and let's say its text is something called as login. Okay. Now as I say, the element will be added by default in the top left corner. Now it's below the edit text. Now if I use below edit text @ plus ID ET1, it will go below edit text. But the problem is where it is now aligning, it is below the edit text. But now it is where it is aligning now? It is aligning towards the left of the parent. Now I want to give two relative positions for these buttons. One relative position is with respect to the edit text, and another relative position. So one relative position you have answered it correctly with respect to the edit text, and another relative position I need to give with respect to what? Yeah, anyone? Another relative position I have to give with respect to what? In the chat box. Yeah, with respect to parent. Exactly. With respect to parent. So how I can write here is, as parent, and this attribute will be true. Okay, so as you can see, for a relative position, I can give, for the relative layout, I can give the relative position of the control with respect to either other control or with respect to the parent. For example, if we see this edit text, it only has the relative position with respect to other control. If I consider this button, then this will have the relative position with respect to edit text also, and at the same time with respect to the parent also. So it is below the edit text and it is at the end of the parent. It is at the end of the parent. Okay, now let me show you one thing, one interesting thing here. What we consider it as a RTL. Okay, so if I say this as a RTL, this will be aligned to the left. I think it's not using currently. If I use RTL, this will be aligned from the right to left. Okay, so this will be exactly reversed. For that, I need to run the app. Currently, we are not interested in running the app. Whenever we'll go towards the programming, we'll see that. But currently, you can understand what do you mean by this relative layout. Let's try to understand it more clearly by designing this layout. First name, last name, and there is a button we have below it. So let's try to create such kind of interface. So now here we have. Now here we have four different controls. There is two text views, two edit text, and below that one we have one more button that says submit. So total we have five controls, two text views, two edit text, and one button. So let's say we have to design it by using a relative layout. Now we'll first use a text view. So text view whose width is wrap content, height will be again the wrap content, and what it says is, it says enter your first name, or I'll simply write here first name. Then I'll increase the font size by using attribute text size. Now always remember, for a text, the unit should be used as SP, that means a scalable pixel. So this is one text view that we have. Now, as I already said, whenever you are creating any control, always give ID to tag. So we'll give ID as @ID. @ID stands for create a new ID. So @ID, and here we have the name as, let's say, fname TV. Now what does it mean? First name, fname is nothing but for first name, and TV says that it's a text view. So this is the naming convention that I use. Of course, you can use any naming convention that you feel easy. Okay. Now I have to copy this and modify it as an edit text. And for this edit text, I don't want to have any text here. So I'll simply delete this, and we'll take the width as match parent. So it will match the parent, and we have to align it towards the right of @ID fname TV. So this will go towards the right of this. Again, this has to be given one ID. So we'll say @ID. This is the first name, and rather than text view, this is the edit text. So I'll call it as fname EP. Now I'll simply copy these two elements and I'll paste it here. So these two text view will now overlap, and as you can see here, it is showing a red line. So it means the ID should be the unique. Okay. So let's say here we'll name it as last name, and the ID here I should give as lname TV, that is last name text view. And for the edit text, I'll again call it as lname ET, that is the last name edit text. Now I have to specify the relative position. So this last name text view will be below of the first name text view. So I'll call here it as below @ID fname text view. So this will go below the first name. And for the edit text also, I can say it is towards the right of lname text view, and it is below the fname edit text. Okay, as you can see, it is saying it is aligning it below the F name edit text. Now the thing is, last name is having no spacing after the first name, so we can add it by adding a padding here. So padding, or let's say we can add a margin from top, and for a margin you have to give the unit as a DP, such as a device dependent pixel. So let's give it as a 40. Now it will create such kind of user interface, and below that, below the entire thing, we have to create one button. So button width will be match parent, height will be wrap content, and what does the button says? The button says only one text, and that is nothing but the submit. Now this button should be below of our edit text. So what I can have here is below @+id lname edit text, and as you can see, this button will be aligned below of the edit text. If you want to add a margin, you can add a margin from top, and margin from top will be 40 dp. Okay. Now this will create such kind of user interface. So the basic thing is, relative layout will specify the relative position of every control, either with respect to other control or with respect to parent. But what is important in a relative layout is every control must have one unique identifier specified by an attribute called as an ID. So I think that will be enough for today's lecture. We have seen two of the layouts, that's the linear layout and the relative layout. So one thing that I want to ask you now is, if you have any of the doubts, please ask. So the last 2 to 3 minutes will be dedicating for a doubt clearance. So if you have any doubt till now, please ask. Any doubt in view group, any doubt in the terminology of layouts, any doubt in linear and the relative layout? Yeah, please ask if you have any doubt. Yeah, does anyone has any doubt? Please ask if you have any doubts here. Any doubt in the previous concept that we have studied? Okay. If you have no doubts, I think we'll be stopping here. In the next lecture, we are going to cover the remaining layouts. Okay. So that's it. We'll stop here for today. Thank you.